Welcome to the Yield Tactics Podcast, your go-to source for all topics related to yield and revenue management, pricing strategies, and industry insights. We're diving deep into the dynamic world of revenue management and pricing across various sectors, with a particular focus on travel, leisure, transportation industries, and beyond. From airlines optimizing seat inventory to hotels adjusting room rates based on demand, and even to theme parks maximizing ticket sales, yield management plays a crucial role in ensuring businesses extract the maximum value from their resources. Joining us are Yield Tactics senior consultants and partners, industry experts, thought leaders, and pioneers in the field of revenue management, who will share their expertise, experiences, and innovative strategies to help you stay ahead in this ever-evolving landscape.
This podcast is brought to you by Yield Tactics and Airline Tactics, the foremost consulting firm specializing in revenue management and pricing, serving clients worldwide. The excellent book Blue Ocean Strategy by W. Shan Kim and Renee Mauborgne is a perfect parallel universe where innovative and highly differentiated products are marketed without real competition. This is the Shangri-La of revenue managers who can test pricing elasticity without risk of losing customers to the competition. It still exists in the world, and some business travel companies evolve in a blue ocean. Hotels isolated in high tourist demand sectors, airline monopoly routes, rail links privatized and unavoidable. We estimate that once a travel company captures more than 75% of a market's demand, it is not necessary for it to regularly monitor its market share because any commercial and pricing action targeted to regain a few points of market share would dilute the overall revenue. Unfortunately, the daily life of the vast majority of tourism companies and hotels is rather like the red ocean. Fierce competition, struggling to share a demand that is not growing enough. When commercial and financial performance is struggling, when occupancy rates are below expectations, the question of the benchmark of key performance indicators, KPIs, becomes crucial to understand if the performance of a hotel is better or worse than competing establishments. There is always the shadow of a doubt. Are there market opportunities you are missing? To meet this need, several companies aggregate data from hotel establishments at the local level to deliver estimates of average daily rate, ADR, revenue per available room, RevPAR, average length of stay, ALOS, occupancy rate, market penetration index, MPI, etc. But rarely is there estimates of market shares. This is explained by the statistical shortcuts that these data providers take to calculate their indicators at the scale of a city or a region, and which do not withstand the statistical rigor of the calculation formula of the market share. We will further discuss in this episode the limitations of these data sets and what are the alternative solutions that exist in the market to calculate reliable market shares at the local level. But let's start from the beginning. What is hotel market share and how do you calculate it? What is a market share indicator used for? In the hotel industry, calculating the market share of a hotel every month allows us to know its commercial performance compared to its direct and indirect competitors. Knowing market shares of hotels in a geographical area is essential to precisely target competitors and execute strategies for pricing, revenue management, and distribution that are truly making a difference. It is estimated that the simple fact of having visibility on the market shares of competitors makes it possible to increase turnover by at least 5%. Conversely, not using market share indicators in an environment where your competitors use them can represent a 10% shortfall in revenue. Using detailed market share indicators by type of establishment, number of stars, length of stay, traveler segment, and country of residence, is fundamental to implement targeted and non-dilutive pricing strategies. It can allow you to build tariff offers that can defend the market segments where you are attacked or conquer underutilized traveler typologies without diluting your main income. How to calculate a hotel's market share? Calculating a hotel's overall market share is like calculating the percentage of sales it makes relative to the total market size. There are two methods of calculating market share. 1. In relation to the total size of the market expressed in turnover, revenue. The revenue market share is a percentage that corresponds to your sales business divided by revenues of all the hotels in your geographical area. Revenue market share equals hotel total sales for rooms divided by market total sales for rooms 2, in relation to the total size of the market in number of overnight stays, volume. The overnight market share, commonly referred to as actual market share, is the total number of nights sold by a hotel divided by the total nights sold in the market. Actual market share equals the hotel total night stays divided by the market total night stays. For reasons of data availability, which we will explain later, the second method is most commonly applied at the local level. What are the considerations to take into account when implementing a market share indicator? From this theoretical definition, we can glimpse two challenges to be resolved before having a ready-to-use market share indicator. 1. How to define and delimit the market. 2. How to source the data. Let's talk first how to define and delimit the market. In order for a market share indicator to make sense from a business point of view and lead to actionable insights, commercially it is necessary that the size of the market be neither too big nor too small. If the market size is too large, the percentage market share will be too small for the variations to properly reflect the trends, and it will not be commercially exploitable. If we take the example of the city of Singapore, if the market share is calculated, including all neighborhoods and all types of establishments, results are extremely difficult to read. Especially since if you operate a 4-star hotel, fluctuations in demand for 1- and 2-star categories, which have no impact on your market segment, will incorrectly impact the value of your market share and may lead you to make inappropriate business decisions. Conversely, if the market size is too small, the risk is not including the hotels of your competitors. Still with our example, if you limit the market geographically to Singapore airport area, which makes sense because your hotel is located at the airport hub and does not compete directly with downtown hotels, you will obtain more practical result. On the other hand, as there are only 3 4-star hotels in the area, it may not be sufficient to calculate your market share on a so small basis. Calculating market share on this basis will lead to the exclusion of a significant part of the demand staying in lower category hotels that have the potential to capture your customers. To support this point, the senior consultants of Yield Tactics have observed all over the world extreme variations in market share between establishments in the same city during the COVID-19 pandemic, with hotels that have obviously continued working with frozen or too narrow comp sets, and which have missed large business opportunities in favor of unmonitored hotel establishments against which no pricing strategy was put in place. What we recommend in general is that the calculation of your market share is operated on a hotel selection wider than your comp set. If the number of hotels in your area is very limited, it is better to include all of them. When the density of establishments is greater, it is preferable to limit selection to neighboring cities or districts and include only accommodations of the same category. While working on the data, always keep in mind the ability to carry out ad hoc analyses on other parameters. How to get hotel market share data. We saw previously that there are 2 methods of calculating the market share. 1. On turnover, revenue market share. 2. On the number of overnight stays, volume market share or actual market share. If the turnover or the number of overnight stays at your hotel is perfectly known to you, then the total size of the market, which is essential for calculating market share, is the more difficult dataset to obtain. Traditional providers of KPIs for hotels do not generally provide you with market share data because their statistical approach consists of anonymizing and averaging datasets obtained from all their customers over a geographical area. This is a community model, and these data providers rarely have all of the hotels of a geographic area as a client, so they do not have access to the total overnights and revenue values, which are essential for the correct calculation of market shares. Their approach is, however, useful to produce KPIs such as the RevPAR, because a partial dataset allows you, in theory, to deliver averaged indicators of acceptable quality, as long as you do not focus on a too small geographical area or limit your analysis to a specific business segment. Indeed, the community model is, for 99% of cases, unusable for calculating market share data unless all hotels in a city are served by the same global reservation system tool or the same financial audit firm. The alternative is to source data from public statistical services which may have access to the total number of nights, even sometimes the total turnover of hotels. Public services publish these figures in raw form, generally in a structured way on an open data portal or within annotated activity reports. A good practice in terms of official statistics is to not deliver data in a way where it would be possible to accurately determine the volume of business of a particular establishment. So if you succeed in building a market share indicator from public statistics, you will gain knowledge, for example, that your market share is declining without being able to identify which competing hotels have taken customers away from you. Additionally, government statistics have the following flaws: deadlines and frequency of publication unsuitable for rapid commercial use, too large geographic granularity, segmentation by number of stars or customer satisfaction is often absent. Public data statistics are therefore preferred to calculate the market share of a chain of hotels in large geographical areas by region or country, but are rarely used on the scale of a city or district. Today, the best solution to obtain market share data at the local level is the online hotel market share data service from Yield Tactics, which delivers precise estimates of market share at the local level, city, town, district, by month of arrival, but also by length of stay, country of residence of the traveler, and even customer profile, individual, couple, family, group of friends. This service aggregates a sample of confirmed bookings sold by the largest online travel agencies, OTAs, such as Booking.com, Expedia, Hotels.com, Trip.com, Agoda, and others. The advantage of this data source is that market share can be calculated on the basis of all hotels as far as they are distributed by OTAs. These market shares calculations are reliable and representative of the OTA distribution segment, which is certainly the most dynamic and competitive. The value propositions of this high return on investment service are as follows. Gain market share from your competitors by fully understanding the dynamics of the local market and more easily overcome fluctuations in demand. Outperform other hotels in your city by monitoring your market share by city, district, location, property, number of stars, type of accommodation, etc. Increase your occupancy rate and your total income thanks to a precise analysis of the segmentation by customer profile, length of stay, country of residence, etc. As a consulting firm, we possess the expertise to assist you in implementing these capabilities internally, or alternatively, we can collaborate with our esteemed technological partners to construct them on your behalf. Market share by city, district, location, property, number of stars, type of accommodation, etc. increase your occupancy rate and your total income thanks to a precise analysis of the segmentation by customer profile, length of stay, country of residence, etc. As a consulting firm, we possess the expertise to assist you in implementing these capabilities internally, or alternatively, we can collaborate with our esteemed technological partners to construct them on your behalf.
Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast to catch every upcoming episode. And if you have any questions, comments, or topics you'd like us to cover, feel free to reach out to us.
Stay connected with us on LinkedIn and visit our websites yieldtactics.com and airlinetactics.com for more exclusive content and information about our consulting and training services. From our websites, you can download the Yield Tactics magazine for free, featuring in-depth articles covering topics such as organizational transformation, advanced pricing techniques, marketing, revenue optimization, and distribution. The ideas and opinions expressed by our guests on this podcast are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views or endorsements of Yield Tactics. Also, when we mention specific companies or products, it's important to note that such references do not constitute an endorsement by Yield Tactics, nor do they imply any business relationship between us.